Yes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday, December 6th. This is CEC General Meeting, December meeting. It's 7:04 and we're calling the meeting to order. And we will do the name call for attendance.
When you,
Present.
Karol Rashid. Frank Chow.
Here.
Joseph Chow.
Coming next to me?
Still respond. Still say hi.
Yeah. of course.
Thank you. Sung Young.
Present. Sorry, he's more important.
Alvin Hung.
Present.
Eden Rubenstein. Present. Robert Lazar.
Present.
Catherine St. Pierre. Are you St. Pierre or St. Pierre?
Santora, still Santora St. Pierre, but Santora is fine.
Present. And Jocelyn Chen. Here.
Anyway, I'll tell my contact.
Okay, I think this is Catherine's first official meeting, so welcome.
Oh, thank you.
We have a pretty decent agenda tonight, so let's get started. Everyone in front of you is the November minutes. Carly has sent the minutes around 2 days ago via email, so if everyone can take a brief review of the minutes so that we can approve it and move on.
Ask your question.
So, the motion for a second. Okay.
The rule board procedure can accept the $5 gift.
So briefly, last Tuesday, we had a special meeting here, about, class size reduction law.
No, I'll check.
We had a great turnout. We had, some members from, UFT, and we had a lot of questions from the public. And then we brought some of the questions to Senator Liu, who had a meeting at the public library, the Main Street Public Library. And it was a good turnout also. So we may ask Senator Liu to come in, to give us a presentation, maybe in February, as he might be in Albany in January. And we will keep the public posted, so that you can attend, the meeting. And I will turn over to Eden. She has some announcements.
So, got a little bit of an update for us today on Borough President appointee.
Yep.
It appears that the process is just about finalized, and we do have a person's name, and it will be coming down in the next couple of weeks, so we should be getting somebody here hopefully for January. So I wanted to let everyone know about that. With that, you didn't have anything else, right? So we're gonna turn it over to PS 242. I was there today for their blue ribbon ceremony. It was an amazing ceremony. And I think they have some stuff to share. Harley, before you put it on, thank you. Don't press play yet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Good evening, esteemed president of the CEC members, Superintendent Dr. Michael D'Antona, Louis Tito, who I know is online, Esther, Carly, families and staff online, and my wonderful fellow colleagues and 242 family members who are both in person here tonight and online. Woohoo! Thank you so much for being here tonight and supporting our amazing school. Today we celebrated with many of you our receipt of a National Blue Ribbon, a true honor. We were one of only 6 schools within New York City and one of 2 schools in District 25 to receive this prestigious and honorable award. If you are looking for a warm, nurturing, caring, family-oriented early childhood school with the most amazing staff members, then 242 is a place for you. The 242 staff proudly and graciously created a video to showcase our school so that all of you can see what a wonderful school 242 really is. Thank you also to all my colleagues, and especially to our physical education teacher, Mr. Steve Bofinos, who helped organize and put together this video. The kindergarten application is currently open. Please visit our school website for more information on how to apply, or visit schools.nyc.gov for more information. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy our video. Welcome to PS 242, the Leonard P. Stavisky Early Childhood School located in historic Flushing, Queens. PS 242 is a warm, nurturing early childhood school that serves students in grades pre-K to 3. Here's a little fun fact. Did you know that PS 242 is named after Leonard P. Stavisky, a New York State Senator who supported public school education and spent his time ensuring that all New York children are provided with the best opportunities to be successful, lifelong learners. Are you ready for a tour? Let's come inside and check out all the wonderful happenings right here at 242. Come on in. Let's say hello to our amazing office staff. Let's also visit our friendly and caring school nurse, Nurse Nelia. Hi, Nelia. Here are the wonderful school aides who help keep our students safe and entertained. Check out the salad bar. Let's head upstairs and see some of the wonderful classrooms buzzing with busy students and meet the amazing teachers who teach the students.
My favorite thing about PS 242 is the teachers, because the teachers are so nice and we can do fun activities with them. My favorite thing about PS 242 is science, because Miss is our teacher and we do fun experiments with all of my colleagues.
Now it's time to meet our administration. Here's our principal, Miss Jill.
My name is Jill Pritchard, and I'm the principal of PS 242, a Leonard P. Stavisky Early Childhood School. We are a high-performing National Blue Ribbon school 2 times over in 2016 and 2023. We prioritize safety and emotional well-being for our school community by making sure all feel valued, supported, and loved. Our small school hosts approximately 300 students, all who are known and greeted by name. Some of the things that set PS 242 apart are interest clubs, small class size, kindergarten, Mandarin, English bilingual program, and play centers, and many fun events that celebrate our diverse student body. Our strong academic program ensures that our young learners are ready to impact the world around them.
Very nice video.
And this is why you should all apply to 242.
So kindergarten applications are open, yes, so 242. Okay, next, I will turn to Dr. Mike Antona to give his superintendent report.
Absolutely, and I will be mentioning 242 again in this moment as part of my conversation with everyone tonight. Carly, can you just give me hosting capacity so I can share my my presentation? Yep. Okay. So welcome, good evening, everyone, rather than welcome, good evening, everyone. Good to see all of you here tonight. Gonna go over a bunch of things and, you know, that have happened or are in the process of happening here in District 25, to give you a little bit of perspective of the things that have been going on in November, now in December, and something that's really exciting that's gonna be happening actually tomorrow, that I wanna share with you guys tonight. So just a reminder that we do offer our monthly newsletter. Monthly newsletter is posted on our district site. I do encourage our families to go hop on there. We connect with all of our schools and then, you know, create space for us to see what's happening in our buildings. Just a nice way to catch up and see the happenings across the district, let alone just your own individual building. It is really, really well done. And I thank Marissa from our team for organizing that document. It is really pretty cool. Happy Diwali for all of those that celebrate. Hope this year is filled with love, laughter, and happiness for those that celebrate Diwali. Just a quick little recap. Veterans Day, we had a number of our schools, thanking our veterans. So we do appreciate that outreach and that extension of love and support for those that have served to support as veterans in our armed forces. So thank you very much to our veterans. D25 Thanks for Giving Walk. This was really very successful. We had well over 100 people at the park to engage in this Thanks for Giving Walk. Folks that came with their children, brought canned goods, to support a local food pantry. So we had the YWCA present with us and took all of the goods from us at that Bound Park to a local food pantry to support during the Thanksgiving holiday. So we do thank our team, especially Diana Stein for organizing this event. It was really quite fun. The little guy in that picture where there was YWCA did offer a bicycle as a raffle for folks to come. And I have to tell you, I think that child was 242, correct? That child was from 242. And one of the coolest things about that, aside from obviously just families getting out there to be with one another, across a variety of locations in District 25, was the look on his face when he saw that his name was called was priceless. So the event was really exciting. And what you'll hopefully see as this year is going on is that how do we come together consistently to promote this idea of community, this idea of growing together as a collective group. That's really what I want to emphasize for us as a district. Student government and elections have kicked off in our schools, have had the opportunity to visit schools during those election processes. In fact, I did meet with a group that was brand new, was newly elected the day that I came to visit their school. And it was like they had been together for an entire year already, the way that they were communicating with me around how they want to make sure that they're able to do really good things for their school. The previous year, they had communicated with our local elected officials. And because of that, they wound up getting funding for security cameras in their building. And that was all derived from our student government. And that's what I want to see for all of our schools that have these student governments, which is basically all of them, to really push to do things that are authentic. Yes, we can have spirit days, which I think are amazing, but I want our kids really doing things that are going to kind of push the space of their civic responsibility. So more to come on that as the year goes on. Fall in love with books door decorating contest. So I did visit all three schools and was able to connect with each of our students in our schools and brought them some nice pizza to celebrate their accomplishment with their door decorating and their promotion and love for reading. So it was quite fun. Today I was at PS 32 to meet with their first grade class, who was so super excited. I can't tell you how many times I was asked how old I was and how tall I was. That happened quite a bit today. So it was really quite fun to enjoy that time with them. And then all the way on the right-hand side, their door, if you remember, was Clifford. So they made me nice Clifford ears. You can't really make it out on the image unless it's right in front of you. But I have that beautiful set of Clifford ears on in that image, and it was quite fun with that pre-K class. So I don't know if any of you have experienced being in a pre-K class or in a first grade class, but it's not a classroom that you ever want to leave because the kids are just so adorable. But anyway, it was lots of fun. And part of doing that is just to continue to promote this idea of let's be readers. Let's get excited about reading and let's push it across our buildings. Also today, I was a very busy guy. I was in multiple locations. So today we kicked off, and I want to make sure that I'm getting this in full, the partnership that we've just established with New York City FC, New York City Football Club, who are going to be connecting with several of our schools this year to promote soccer across our buildings. So what you'll see inside of this image, they brought all of their Premier League trophies, their NYC FC trophies to meet the kids at PS 214 today, as a kickoff to promote soccer across District 25. So we have 6 schools: PS 24, PS 120, PS 163, PS 214, PS 242. There we go, 242, and PS 244 are going to begin starting this partnership with NYC FC this year, with the goal that by spring 2025, this is going to be district-wide. Will be the expectation for us. And I have to thank Diana Stein over and over, because she is really pushing to bring all of these types of activities and opportunities to our schools in District 25. So on top of our basketball teams that we have in all of our schools, the soccer teams that we already have existing in our buildings, and one other thing that I'm going to mention to you shortly that Diana's also involved in that I'm super excited about, which is the event I'm going to tomorrow, and I'll talk about in just a moment. But here is our first, but the last one I'll mention today in terms of my visits to schools was PS 242 and their blue ribbon ceremony. So I do want to thank Ms. Pritchard, the 242 staff, students, families, our local elected officials for making today such a special day. The kids this morning were so excited to have that banner raised outside of their building. And it calls to what PS 242 is about. So you have 3 teachers here that are in the audience. You have teachers that are online, here to talk about how much they love their building. And that love and gratitude for their own school is what makes the school what it is. Kids are excited to be there. Teachers push that excitement through the way that they care about their kids. And they promote voice for children. One of the kids in this group, every year I meet with children during my visits. And one of the 3rd graders looked at me and said, "Oh my God, I met with you last year." You know, because they know that they have a voice as learners as early as pre-K and kindergarten in their buildings, because they make it an opportunity for them to speak and share out their thinking. So thank you to PS 242. It's an honor, well deserved, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they continue to grow. And 7 years from now, they can apply for another one as part of the blue ribbon process, and maybe they'll make it three in a row. So looking out for 242 to keep that going.
I don't know if you noticed, but I was looking at the ribbons, and I believe it had students' names on them, correct? Every student put their name on one of the ribbons that were hanging outside.
So nice. So nice. So nice. Yeah, it was a beautiful day. So congratulations again to 242. For our CEC members that were also there to celebrate because of connections that they had to 242 in the past, whether they had their children there last year or a couple of years ago. It was nice to have you present. We had Borough President Donovan Richards present, Councilmember Ung was present, Senator Stavisky was present. So it was a room full of folks that were there to honor the school, and it was truly well deserved. The next thing that I want to share that happens and begins tomorrow for the 2nd year is District 25 is one of 4 districts that participates in the Unified Bocce League. And the Unified Bocce League is intended to bring children with special needs, with neurotypical children together in a space where they can learn to build sportsmanship, connections with one another as pals in the space of this bocce world. It was really, really quite well done last year. So we do have 6 schools that participate, and in order to participate, there were criteria certainly that needed to be met in terms of the needs of our children in order to qualify as a student that would be participating in this. So we have IS 25, JHS 185, JHS 194, excuse me, IS 219, and IS 250, PSIS 219 and IS 250 are our schools. And tomorrow is the 2nd annual kickoff to that event where District 9, 22, 26, and us will begin this next round of bocce. And who knows, maybe we'll have an opportunity where we can bring CEC involved. I don't mind having a little bit of competition with the bocce ball. So anyone's interested, we might have to bring that out to our CEC. So this you're going to hear me talk about a lot, and I mentioned it earlier, this whole idea of growing together as one community. So in our schools, and what I'm hoping that we continue to progress in, you're going to start hearing things from our buildings where they're doing things like parents as partners, where parents will be invited into classrooms. They'll be able to see what's going on in terms of the learning that their children are engaging in, so that there's a mutual understanding as to what practice looks like for our children every single day. So PS24, as an example, parents as partners is the approach that they're taking. At Q165, First Fridays, you'll notice that we have our parents alongside their children inside of this space to learn what's happening with their kids. And it just promotes that opportunity for community back and forth. But aside from that, understanding what it is that we do every single day in our classrooms, it's important for our families to know. So this is something that is building across our buildings. That was a little redundant. Across our schools, from school to school. Welcoming Wednesdays. What was actually interesting, one of our building principal who had hosted this expressed that because of the turnout, parents had to make sure that they understood that it was just one guest, right? Because otherwise it was going to become an entire classroom that was unsustainably large. So what families were actually doing was saying, you know what, you go in for the first 15 minutes, I'll come back, you come outside, and then we'll take turns to make sure that we get to see our kids in action, which I think is really, really nice. And the goal is that as the year goes on, that we're able to do more and more of that in District 25. So these examples are actually on a monthly basis that our schools are opening up their doors. Other schools are doing it a little bit differently, having it in the form of open school weeks, where families are able to come and join during an open school week. And I saw Ms. Neely just post something about the number of, how many? 302 parents engaged in one of our First Fridays, which is an amazing, amazing opportunity for our folks.
Are they from the same grade or different grades?
Cross grades.
Okay.
Cross grades. Yeah, the cross grades. So this is also about us as leaders, us as teachers, creating opportunities to also visit schools, getting in classrooms, learning from one another in terms of what we see. So we want our parents to be in there with their kids, but we also want to be in there collaboratively with our educators as well, to start talking about what are we seeing inside of our classrooms that's important for us to learn from, so that we can all collectively get better at what we do. So what you see here is an example of what we actually just went through just this week. Our building leaders from across District 25 went to 2 different schools. I thank Principal Leung and Principal Swirsky for opening their doors. So our middle school folks stayed in our middle school, while our elementaries were able to walk right across the street to visit classrooms, to see what our kids were doing. And then, as you can see in that middle picture, was about us having a debrief around what it is that we saw, so that we can improve upon our practice. These are the types of things that you're going to hear from me throughout the year that we're going to be embedding as part of just what we do. We go out, we go and check in and see what's going on in our classrooms to get better. That's my biggest message to everyone, is that we continue to learn in this space on the behalf of our kids. District SEL support series, we have round 2 coming up this next week on December 14th. Executive functioning skills, this will be held at PS 201. So thank you to Principal Seren for opening his doors, and to our social worker wing, Esther, and our team for organizing and facilitating this event for our families. It really is about how to help our kids organize and manage themselves. Sometimes, yes, the academics may be an issue, but sometimes the things that might be blocking our children are not so much the academics, but their ability to get themselves organized and ready to learn. And for us as parents, I know that I struggle with that too as a parent. How do I make sure that my child is ready to go without me also getting frustrated as to why are you not ready? Right? So those are the types of things that that Wing and Esther will be talking about in terms of simple management structures that we can put into place at home that will help our kids be more aware of how they can get more prepared for not only work at home, but also work at school. So this is an important opportunity. We did not have the hugest of turnouts during the first round. I'm hoping that our families, and I encourage you, for any of your families that where children may be struggling with getting themselves together and organized, it's a nice way to connect, because Wing and Esther share a bunch of different strategies that I myself found very helpful when I sat in on it last time. Updates and reminders. Fall 2024, high school admissions just passed on December 1st. We did a really good job of making sure the vast majority of our children submitted their applications. We did have a couple, unfortunately, that did miss that deadline. But in large part, we had 100% in the vast majority of our schools in terms of application completion. A high school offer release will happen in March. Middle school admissions this Friday, December 8th, middle school application closes. So families, if you haven't made your choices yet, please make sure that you do. If you're not sure what it is that you need to do or how to do, please connect with your principal, connect with your guidance counselor in your building. You can connect with us at the district office. Whomever it is that you feel most comfortable calling, we'll make sure that we help you out so that those applications are put into place. It is really important. And when time passes and it's no longer an option for you to make that choice, it makes things a lot more difficult because I can't give you an answer after that. I can't say, okay, just put this down now and that's going to happen. The reason they put in deadlines is to make sure that the process is completed and organized in a timely fashion so everyone can receive their offer in a timely way. So please make sure by the 8th that everyone is doing so. And I know our schools have been very active in connecting with our parents about making sure that applications have been put in. Kindergarten applications, Tuesday, December 5th, kindergarten and kindergarten G&T applications open. So please make sure that we're aware of that and any of your folks inside of your community that may be asking that it is open. They can connect with their schools on this. They can connect with us here as well if they need. Friday, January 19th, the application window closes, and March 27th, the releases are available. And we've shared this over the last 3 CEC meetings, just to make sure that everyone consistently receives that message that this is in fact coming very soon. 3K pre-K, Wednesday, January 10th, 3K and pre-K applications open. Friday, March 1st, 3K and pre-K applications close. And then releases are on May 14th and May 16th. G&T upper grade admissions, Monday, April 15th, G&T upper grade application opens. Friday, May 3rd, G&T upper grade application closes. Wednesday, June 12th, offers will be released. And for all of you, just to know, Big Apple Award nominations are now open. And District 25 has the best in New York City. So I encourage folks to visit the New York City Public Schools website to nominate a teacher. Last year, we did have a Big Apple Award awardee in District 25, and it was really super exciting. In fact, when we visited her classroom, it was then Superintendent Domingo, myself, and our whole team walked into her classroom, and when she saw us, she was just in this state of, oh my goodness, I can't believe what just happened. So she was super excited, and it's a wonderful thing for teachers in District 25, and certainly all over the place, but selfishly being the acting superintendent in District 25, the folks here certainly deserve to be recognized for all of their hard work. So I encourage you, if you'd like to do that nomination, that you have that opportunity to do so. And that concludes my chat for today.
Thank you, Dr.
You're
Santona.
welcome.
That was a lot of information.
Yes.
You've been very busy.
Yes, I've been around town.
Oh, thank you. Well, tonight we have the pleasure of having Mr. Benjamin Goodman from SCA here tonight. Hi, Mr. Goodman, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks so much for having us.
He will give us a capital plan proposal presentation. And whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Sure. Thanks so much, President Yoon. I'd like to thank all of CEC 25 for having us here this evening. As the President mentioned, I'm Ben Goodman from the School Construction Authority. I'm the External Affairs Manager for Queens North. I'd also like to introduce our director who's with us this evening, Yvette Knight. Just one second.
Everyone. Pleasure to be here and to meet all of you.
I'm just going to share my screen on 1 second. We'll take a look through the presentation.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay, so this is a rendering actually of PS 388 on Water's Edge Drive. We're very excited to have this to show folks. This is for September 2026 opening, a new standalone school in District 25. This has been quite it's been quite some time since we've been able to build a new standalone school, so we're quite excited about that. We'll take a look at another rendering in a moment. So on the agenda for this evening, we're going to discuss the amendments to the February 2023, the February 2023 amendment to the fiscal year 20 through 2024 plan. We'll take a look at highlights as well as discuss the capacity program, capital improvement, resolution A, and the MWLBE program. We are in the tail end of that fiscal 20 to 2024 plan, meaning that we did just release a new 5-year capital plan, taking us out to fiscal year 2029. So we'll discuss the plan highlights and capacity of what that means for District 25 and go over our CEC comment form. And of course, answering questions and any comments for CEC members, or parents or students in the audience with us this evening. So to discuss the February 2023 amendment to the fiscal 2020 through 2024 plan, this here is the PS 169 edition that will be opening this September. So a couple of very quick highlights from the plan. With approximately a 7.95 billion for capacity. Capacity is anything the SCA does to bring new school seats online. Whether they're new additions, such as the addition to Q169, PS 169 Bell Academy, or the PS 32 edition. Electrification, continuing work to make our buildings carbon-free, as well as improving technology and doing TCU removals and playground redevelopment. And we'll take a look at a good example of PS 22 in Flushing for that particular program in a minute. So the total amount's approximately 19.4 billion. Approximately 8 billion for capacity. So those are the new school seats. The next program, capital improvement, approximately 7.9 billion. That is anything the SCA does to keep our buildings in a state of good repair, such as installing new windows, exterior modernizations, anything to keep our buildings safe and watertight. Mandated, the last category is anything the SCA is required to do in accordance with state, local, or federal law, or any court decisions. So a great example is the replacement of the older boilers with new cleaner energy boilers. So to break it down further in terms of capacity, the new capacity, such as new school seats, are additions, annexes, the new standalone building, such as PS 388 Water's Edge. That is included in the capacity program. I'd like to just stop just here to to let folks know, we do have another standalone new building coming to District 25. We're absolutely thrilled. It's in the heart of downtown Flushing. It's on 45th Avenue between Colden and Casina. The exact address is 137-31 45th Avenue. It's approximately 700 seats, and it is going to have an at-grade playground. This is quite an accomplishment for us, as you know, as we all know, it is very, very tough to find appropriately sized sites in Flushing. So we're looking now at a September 2027 opening. We're wrapping up our site acquisition process with approval before the City Council. And then hopefully we'll be able to start the design on the new school sometime within the new year. Next is replacement. This is specific to schools that are leased to the SCA and New York City Public Schools, where we need to find a new facility for the students and staff when that particular lease is expiring. Class size reduction program, capacity to remove TCUs. This is a very unique program for instances where the schools do not have capacity or space within their existing building to accommodate the students and staff within those TCUs within the trailers, where we need to actually build up new construction in order to accommodate the removal of those TCUs. Early education, this is our standalone 3K pre-K program. We've done a lot across District 25, and a good example, we've just opened one on Casino Boulevard in downtown Flushing. So take a look through here. There's a couple of examples of our capacity across District 25. This on the top is another rendering of the new school on Water's Edge Drive, PS 388. The PS 169 edition for both PS 169 and Bell Academy, opening this September 2024, as well as the PS 32 edition in Auburndale, also opening September 2024. The last building here, this is a high school, but it is located in College Point. We just wanted to make sure folks were aware. This is a building that we did acquire, and we are looking to open this September 2027 for approximately 600 new high school seats located nearby College Point Collaborative Middle School. So in terms of capital improvements, this is important for folks to kind of understand how something does become a project within the SCA's 5-year capital plan. So the first method is part of our annual building condition assessment survey. Our inspectors do roof to cellar inspections, and all the building systems are ranked. Anything ranked particularly in need of a major repair on a scale of 1 to 5 is flagged for inclusion within the plan. Next is issues reported by our colleagues at the Division of School Facilities within New York City Public Schools. These are our custodial engineers, our deputy director of school facilities, the directors of school facilities, or the day-to-day maintenance folks who are within the schools. Next is any mandated repairs. Again, repairs that we're required to make in accordance with state, local, or federal law or court decisions. And then the next two, Resolution A or Reso A is actually grants from your elected officials, your council member, your borough president, in some cases, state elected officials. These are particular school enhancement projects that we undertake with that particular funding. Great examples are playground redevelopments, playground upgrades, auditorium upgrades, gym upgrades, library upgrades, technology, laptop carts, things of that nature. And lastly is requests, from the community education councils. So across District 25, there's a lot of capital improvement projects that are currently underway or have been completed in the current plan. 6 boiler conversions, a lot of electrical system upgrades, as well as upgrades to gymnasiums and the heating plant, and quite a number of school safety projects. So these are some examples of ongoing work or recently completing work. We do have the boiler conversion climate control project at PS 79, a flood elimination work at PS 107, as well as the exterior masonry work. And this is a great example here of PS 22 in Flushing of a playground upgrade. This was actually an area that at one point also had a TCU that we were able to turn it around and make it a better usable space for the PS 22 community. So Resolution A, these are specific projects that are funded by grants from members of the City Council or the Queen's Borough President's Office, or state elected officials. So these are specific capital improvement projects, things as specific room conversions, new library upgrades, or the creation of libraries, playground upgrades, gym upgrades, things of that nature. We do ask that for this particular program, when our principals are or would like to have a specific upgrade done to the school, they do come to us and ask us for an estimate. So it's important to have a cost estimate so that they know, what to ask their council member or the borough president for. We have done quite a number of projects for this program across District 25. A lot have been technology upgrades, but we have done work on the auditoriums, installing air conditioning split systems in common spaces, a cafeteria multi-purpose room upgrades, installing new security cameras, that's IP surveillance, as well as doing playgrounds and library upgrades, science lab upgrades, and room conversions. So taking a look through the MWLBE program. So this is a very specific program that we're very proud of. We do have a high level of participation, minority-owned, women-owned, and locally based business enterprises who participate in our projects. There was a brochure that was sent earlier this afternoon by our colleague. That brochure does explain what the MWLBE program is. We have a really great business development team who's more than willing to speak to any contractor who's interested in doing business with the School Construction Authority. Also, if you know of anyone who might be interested and might qualify for this program, you can get them in touch with me. And I'll put my name again and my email and my phone number in the chat. So another example of a very particular unique program to the SCA, we do run a mentor program. I mean, this is a really great program. We do urge anyone who's eligible to take advantage of this because it does provide mentoring, key support and access to capital for business opportunities for some qualifying emerging minority women-owned or locally based business enterprises, or MWLBEs. It's important to note that a lot of times it's not the construction skill that these firms do not have. They actually do have the construction skill. They'd like to do business with the SCA or the city, but they lack actually access to capital and business support. That's something we take really seriously in all our projects, and we are happy to speak to any firm that might be willing and looking to participate in this unique program. So across District 25, approximately $52 million in projects, and that's approximate of estimated cost rather for approximately 16 projects at 4 MWLBE firms. So now let's take a look at the proposed new 5-year capital plan from fiscal year 25 through 2029. So the proposed plan totals approximately $17 billion. Capacity is approximately 4.98 billion. So these are new school seats that the SCA will bring online. And next category is a new category for us, healthy schools, approximately $2.25 billion. So this is a unique program rather, that includes electrification, as well as funding to eliminate reliance on fossil fuels, and provide a cleaner and more sustainable environment to our students and staff and our school community. We're also doing quite a number of physical education projects. And this particular program does include needed funding to modernize and expand our physical education facilities. Included with that would be athletic fields, swimming pools, and playgrounds. And lastly, we are looking to create unique educational spaces for our students. These spaces would be learning gardens or other areas where you can have more of a specific emphasis on health and nutrition. Included in that health and nutrition projects would be cafeteria enhancements. Next category, capital improvement, approximately 6.37 billion. This is anything the SCA would undertake to keep our buildings in a state of good repair. So, and watertight. So exterior modernizations, flood eliminations, window replacements, and lastly, mandated, anything SCA is required to do in accordance with state, local, or federal law. So this would program also includes remediation. And lastly, I would also like to emphasize with capital improvement, this does include creating additional accessible options throughout our school buildings. So a couple of quick highlights that we also just briefly touched on this. So continuing to work to create new school seats, or electrification program. Additionally, continuing to work on technology upgrades. This is very, very important because it does increase bandwidth and also allows for the procurement of mobile devices for students. And will also allow us to replace several legacy application systems for New York City public schools. Continuing to work on accessibility, as well as physical education space upgrades to our gyms and playgrounds, and approximately 150 million for enhancements to improve our cafeterias for the students and staff. So continuing to work, and we did in the last plan, creating new capacity. So these are new annexes, new standalone buildings, and new additions, which is approximately 4.13 billion. The facility replacement, approximately 400 million. This is the replacement of lease sites where the SCA is leasing a facility, the lease is expiring, and we need to look for a new facility for students and staff. Continuing to work on early education, the standalone pre-K, 3K centers, capacity to remove temporary structures. This is a unique program for many schools, many buildings. There are not any within School District 25. So a couple of other quick highlights. This is another bird's eye view, the rendering of the new school on Waters Edge Drive, and then a picture of the ongoing work to provide a new addition for the PS 169 Bell Academy community. So some quick highlights of the Healthy Schools Initiative. We're going to continue to invest in electrification, reducing our use of carbon, and addressing failing boilers so that we can provide clean, environmentally friendly facilities. We're going to take a look at creating health and nutrition learning spaces, particular emphasis on underserved neighborhoods across the city. We do have more funding allocated to upgrading our athletic fields, pools, gymnasiums, and the playgrounds. And we do have funding to continue the successful implementation of the cafeteria experience enhancement. And to provide a couple of quick highlights identified so far for projects, there is an electrification project that will take place within District 25, continuing to work to keep our buildings watertight, exterior masonry and flood elimination, work in the kitchen area, as well as parapet work, playground upgrade, roof repair, and continuing to work for the school safety initiative and window repair and replacement. So as we go through the out years of our capital plan, there will be additional projects that will be identified. So this is the building comment form. We do ask that you send us back the form, ideally by Friday, January 12th. This would be the top 5 suggestions for school improvement projects that you'd like the SCA to study. This is my contact information and our contact information for Yvette. I will put contact information in the chat. Lastly, for questions regarding this comment form, you of course could reach out to Yvette or myself. You also could email council@nycsca.org or give us a call at this number. So I'd like to thank everyone so much for having us here this evening, and we'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. That was a good presentation. We're so glad to see that we're getting new standalone buildings and the additions that's being built in our district. We obviously we all know that we have overcrowding issues, and hopefully these new buildings will alleviate some of the problems. Does CEC members have questions for Mr. Goodman, Mr. Chow? Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Goodman. I visited 3 of my schools. They all had, well, 2 of them had the same concern, that they had a project done, extension added to the building. There's some work that was unfinished from 10 years ago. Now, one principal is IA. She told me that her predecessor, the principal, contacted SDA, got no response, and she tried, and she hasn't heard anything.
Do you know which school this is?
Yes. Oh, I don't get the principal into trouble. PS 24 and PS 29.
Okay, we'd be happy to look into that. Do you know what the specific issues were, what the project is?
No. I said I was first find out from you what the procedure is before we proceed.
Okay, so the principal could contact me directly. It's bgoodman@nycsca.org. I just put it in the chat, and also by phone, of course, would work as well. It's 718-472-8026.
Okay. Thank you. And Principal 120 said that you were upgrading the auditorium sound system and you didn't finish that. I'm just repeating what I'm saying. I don't know if you did or didn't. Just a messenger.
I understand. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We're going to look into that.
Thank you.
Eden? Yeah.
I know last year we had presented our top 5, and obviously certain projects get chosen and certain don't. How is that being looked at? Like, how do you make the final determination after that's our top 5 to you once we go through this? Because obviously some of the same things that came up last year are now in our list of things again this year.
Sure. So we typically are able to fund projects that have identified as a 4 or 5 and needing urgent need of repair within the building condition assessment survey. That's the survey called or BCAS survey for short. That's on each individual school's website. So that's something that we typically look to when seeing, as we do have limited funds, to see what we can fund. Other particular projects sometimes we suggest are good candidates for the Resolution 8 program, such as upgrades to gymnasiums, auditoriums, and playgrounds. Depending on how those systems though are ranked, as we do rank each individual building system within the building, a system in this case including areas such as that, we would consider that for inclusion within the plan.
Okay, so to piggyback off of that, where does like bathroom situations that are going on across multiple schools, where does that come into play with this? Because if we see it and we present that to you as like a top priority, what's actually happening to make sure that these schools are getting bathrooms that are not going to keep flooding over and over again, basically?
Yeah, so I mean, we would look to see again, what our funding capability is. We'd also for things like that, where there is daily flooding, we do ask that the custodial engineer refer the project to us, so that we can take a look to see what's going on. I'm always happy to work with folks that if there is a situation like that, to get that referral process going, getting folks in touch, with their custodial engineer, their deputy director of facilities.
May I just add that bathrooms are managed by the Division of School Facilities, any upgrade to bathrooms. I do strongly recommend that you speak to your custodian or refer it to your Deputy Director of Facilities for them to make a review and and decide on any kind of repair that needs to be made to with bathrooms. So bathrooms, and the other recommendation I'd also make, as you are putting your list together, speak to your director of facilities or your deputy director of facilities. They're very, very knowledgeable about the kind of projects that can be part of the plan. And they can either repair it themselves, or they can make a recommendation as to whether they can become a Reso 8 project, or then, make a recommendation as to whether it's a good candidate to be on your list.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Bob?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It was a great presentation. My question, first, if I understood this, the plan that we're just finishing 2020 to 2024, 19.4 billion, and then the go forward plan is 17 billion. So the future plan is in fact smaller than the old plan. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Unfortunately, we're in very tough economic times. So we're continuing to invest in our New York City public schools, and hopefully as the city's economic climate improves, we can increase the amount of funding that's available in our capital plan.
Okay, great. Thank you. I just want to make sure I understood that. So my question is about the CEC has been in several meetings about the class size law that's implemented at a state level. And so I know there's a lot of money being allocated to capacity. Has that been reconciled with the requirements under the capacity rules, class size rules, to make sure that this plan is compliant with those laws?
Exactly. That's a very good question. So the capacity funding is a down payment for us to get started on complying with the new state law.
Okay. So I guess I'm trying, when you say down payment,
So what that means is that the amount we have for capacity now is that what we hope and what we believe will allow us to be in compliance with the new state law in terms of class size reduction. So we did take that into account when working at through the pot of money that we do have available for the totality of the capital plan to make sure that we are in compliance.
Okay, great, thank you.
Frank, Alvin, do you have any questions? No. Johnson? No? Okay, so we received a request for improvement from our schools in the district. And Majority of them, I put them in category. They are asking, broken seats to be repaired or replaced, bathrooms, upgrades, gym upgrades or cafeteria upgrades. So of these, so you just covered that with regards to bathroom, that
Mhm.
is something for, school facilities, right?
Yes,
That is correct, yes.
yes.
So, but let's say a school, what about gymnasium flooring?
Mhm.
A lot of the gym floors are old and damaged and, it's hazardous for students to be, running. Would that be a facility or SEA project?
So that usually would also be facilities if it's something just trying to get the floor quickly redone or the floor cleaned up. We do have additional funding as part of the Healthy School initiatives for broader gymnasium projects. But for that particular thing, broader projects to improve our physical education facilities. But with that particular thing, with the floor, if it's more, as Yvette mentioned, a maintenance issue, that would be best handled by the Division of School Facilities.
But I also want to strongly have you encourage your principals to reach out to your elected official for funding. If they want to get an upgrade to their gym space, to their auditorium, to their playground, please have them reach out to your elected official who will meet with you and, have a conversation. And I know that there's someone from an elected's office on this call. So electeds, are very open to looking at your request for funding for those kinds of projects. We're talking science labs. Here's science labs, gyms, auditoriums, room conversions, playgrounds. Those are perfect candidates for what we call funding from your elected, called reserve funding.
And to Yvette's point, I'd also like to add just also if our principals could come to us, for a cost estimate too, so that they know, after they meet with their elected officials, how much funding it would potentially take to do the improvements they're looking for.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Regarding lightings.
Is someone on the Zoom that want to ask a question? Oh.
Param has a question.
We're not able to hear it. We're not able to hear you. Can you speak or put it in
Or
the
unmute
chat,
yourself.
maybe?
Oh.
I know Param did right that he wanted to ask a question.
So another school have request electrical upgrade.
Wendy, may I say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead, Karam.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, and thank you, sir, for your excellent presentation. That was very informative and we learned a lot. The thing is that the school light for PSI is 499. It's old. It hasn't been touched since 10 years. And some of the lights are not working. So we actually have a parent who's an engineer as well and a physics teacher. And on the SLT, he came. We did as a parent, the principal is like, SLT or parents, it's your responsibility. I tried my best. It's not working. It's a little depressing. So we got in together and we actually found out that the kids in the morning or in the evening, like winter time, in cafeteria, they cannot even properly see what they're eating. It's that bad right now. I like, where would we go? Is it something that you will take care of it, or it's something that like?
Yeah, the first person that that folks should be speaking to would be the custodial engineer at the school or the deputy director of facilities. Um, if it turns out that DSF cannot, the Division of School Facilities cannot handle the project, if it involves something more than maintenance, replacement of the bulbs or things of that nature, they might refer it to us. But that does sound like, you know, an issue for facilities, as it might just be maintenance of the bulbs and, you know, the lighting fixtures there.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you, Wendy, and everyone.
Thank you. Are there any questions in the chat? No? Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Goodman. Ms.
And if I
Knight?
could also,
Oh,
I just thank Ben and Yvette. SCA has always been super supportive of District 25, especially with our additions that are coming up. I'm really excited about you know, PS 32 and 169 getting ready for that opening coming up in September. So thank you guys for that. The one thing with 499, we may wind up having to get back to you just because of, I know it's been an ongoing occurrence. So I think it might be a little bit more than maintenance. So I'll make sure that they follow up with both Bill and you guys in the event that it goes beyond the space of just
Okay.
you know, bulb replacement, because I know they have been having some difficulty there. But thank you guys for, you know, for the work that you guys are doing for District 25.
Oh, you're very welcome. We look forward to continuing our work together and seeing everyone at the hopefully ribbon cutting for the 2 new additions that are opening in September.
yes, that'll be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
And happy holidays.
Happy
Happy holidays.
Bye.
So now so we will go over now the capital requests from the school. You know, after, so a lot of these,
Feels like a lot of them have to be limited.
yeah. So do you all wanna each go over each of them? That's what we should. All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
ask you a question. PS 120, they're looking for upgrade to electrical upgrade.
Yeah.
Are they them or no?
What is the one?
So I think all of it always depends on the severity of need.
Well,
So
they say
in the BCAS report that is online for every school, if they indicated as a need of a 5, that's saying this needs to be repaired, you know, immediately. This is something that needs to be taken care of. 4 and 5 are the ones that they typically come after for that type of work, but it also depends on what it is. So if they label something that can be taken care of, it's a problem, but it can be taken care of at the school level through custodial staff or DSF, then they'll let them do that. But if that electrical upgrade is something that is beyond the scope of what local facilities folks are going to be able to handle, then it may become a capital project that SCA would take on. So that's the biggest difference. It's something that they can handle at the local school level, then they will. But if it's something that goes beyond that space, that it's, you know, we need to contract in other people to do this work, then it's more of an SCA type of job. So auditoriums are not really where they'll go. They'll ask for Resolay, which is kind of what they shared. Upgrades to like tech rooms, they'll say put in for Resolay. That's usually the direction that they'll go. But it's usually around that BCAS. If something is a 5, those are the ones that they really tend to look at the most.
Excuse me, what you say?
BCAS, so BCAS. Every school in BCAS. So every school gets surveyed in terms of their building conditions. And will be given a rating score from 1 to 5 based on the current state. Areas where it's a 5, they'll kind of, those are the areas that are like, oh, we need to pay attention to that. So even looking at some of these examples, it might be a need, but where does that live in terms of, can this be just taken care of at the school level, or do they need like a full on?
So Dr.
You know,
Mike,
outside of
not by school, but by project, like say, oh, the boiler, that's a 5, the school is great, but
So they'll, yeah, so they indicate it by
With-
areas,
by the thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
by the specific areas, they'll give a rating in each of them.
got it.
And who's conducting the survey?
So it's part of the process of,
It's part of the SCA, the SCA.
so the SCA, that I would have to check on who actually does it. I believe they send folks out to come and give a look. So like the roof, they have folks that will come in and take a look at the roof to make sure that the roof is in good working order. You know, so there are others that will do that kind of evaluation in the event that like a roof repair would be something that if it's a minor thing, can be patched by the school, it'll be done that way. If it is a huge project, oftentimes it may become something that SEA will scoop up.
So that DCAS survey is just like per project or like goes to the whole school?
Per school, the whole school, they'll identify things like windows and they'll look to see if there are window issues with the windows and they'll get a rating on that. So some of our schools have had, you know, their window repaired, you know, windows repaired across the building because they weren't closing properly, it was getting cold in the building, that kind of thing. So they do an evaluation of what, you know, the current structure in and of itself, and then each of those areas gets a rating.
So like, a
Yeah.
bathroom not being wheelchair accessible, I know that the bathrooms are facilities, but like wheelchair accessibility, doesn't that fall back to SCBA?
So not all buildings are what you would say, oh goodness, I'm losing the,
Accessible.
yeah, so, yeah, so we have like buildings with that are, have more accessibility features than others.
Yeah.
You know, so,
So is there like, at some point it does draw the line of like, okay, this might fall under them, even though
Under-
it's not.
it could, yeah,
Okay.
it depends on the scope of work that is present, but oftentimes inside of that report, and every school, if you look it up, they will have that DCAS report that Ben was just mentioning, it's online for every single school.
So when do you gonna contact all the principals if the bathroom upgraded? Do you want?
Why did you do it?
No, I'm saying, what do you want? You want me to contact the two schools that are listed?
No, the schools that you are in contact with. Yes,
Some just reported to school facility?
no, well, I think first we each have to look at the survey that we have, right? For your schools that you're in contact with, right? And if your school have made a request, right? Then you can consider, you know, asking the principal to contact their custodian, right, and facility, right?
So this is where you find it, you want me to post it up so you guys can see it? Would that be helpful, just so you can see it?
What their projects are, and the ones that we funded for this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, and our city council.
So the city
folks have been
council member,
amazing, especially
city council member funds resume projects at all school, and for just this budget cycle, I can give you some examples. 500,000 for security cameras at PS20,
Mhm.
577,000 for auditorium upgrades at PS24.
Are you on Zoom?
Oh, I am, because I couldn't hear you guys.
Oh, so if Carly make you co-host,
I can send it to you. You want me to send it to you, Carly? Oh, yeah.
I think, you can share it.
They're all.
I don't know how to.
Go to your, maximize your Zoom. At the bottom, share screen. Oh, this little arrow. Oh, yeah. Okay. Go back. Oh. Right.
Sharing.
Go back to your Zoom, yeah. Go back to your Zoom. No, we don't look at that one. And then click on this, yep. And then share. There we go.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so these are all the projects that the council member funded this year. So you can see what type of projects they are. They're just what Ben was talking about. Their auditoriums, their gyms, their technology. So any projects like that are generally resolution A funding, that the council member can allocate money to the SCA to complete those projects. And so if any principal has a project of that nature that they would like done at their school,
When do, principal?
it'll
vacation
start,
start?
January and February.
January, February. And
And what Ben said about getting an estimate, it's very important that they get one from SCA, because last year we funded several projects, but the principals never actually asked how much it was gonna cost. They just kind of made up the number and it wasn't enough. So,
Yeah.
approximately, how much does your office contribute to these projects, these school projects annually?
it varies. We usually ask every principal what their number one project is at their school, and then we see if we can accommodate them. So you can see some of the schools got much more money than the other ones, because that's what the principal asked for.
Okay.
And so it varies year to year, but it's usually right around 5 million, I would say. So if you have projects like this, you can maybe ask them to reach out to the council.
So this list right here has been approved in
2024,
2024. Oh, okay.
or for the fiscal year 2024, so.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, Councilmember Ong actually shared at some of our events where she was able to bring that big check right to right, Shane,
Yeah.
right to the schools for the community.
So
to
these
see,
are the
so.
type of projects that are RESO-A usually, so.
Can you send?
I already did, I sent it to you.
Okay, so I could share with the other members so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
when we look at these,
Yeah, you can
capital
maybe suggest
requests,
to the principal, like if it's gym flooring,
Right.
they could also reach out to the council member
Okay.
and request it,
Okay,
so,
great.
okay.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you,
Thank-
Shane.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Can
Okay.
you show Dr. Mike what you're telling
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Jake, can you stop sharing?
Yeah.
Thank you. For that, please.
So every school, let me just move this. So every school, go back here and go back first. So when you search the school on their page, this will be the whole home page for every school on the New York City site. And then it will have the overview, school quality, and reports. So if we select reports on this page, then you have a whole bunch of other items here for every individual school. So this would be under facilities. And then you'll notice water testing, principal annual space survey, and then the BCAS, the building condition assessment survey. So in the building assessment survey, there'll be 3 areas here that will be identified within those levels 1 through 5, whether the conditions are fine or the conditions are poor, based on the assessment of the building. So when you click on it, you'll see on this document, let me blow this up, woo, a little bit too much.
2012,
Say again.
that's 2012. You have something more current?
So this is the 22-23, yeah, 22-23 survey. Yeah. So when you scroll through it, you'll see the areas that were inspected. And then within that, you'll wind up getting condition ratings. You see where it says fair?
Can you tell what this is? Is this the electrical?
So this one was for electrical. Yeah, so this one was for electrical. So when you go through, you'll see what the conditions are. But remember, it's not doing, that's just one section. So as they're going through all of these elements, you may find some that are in a level 5 that you want to say, you know what? That one would be an area, but it might fall in with what Shane was just talking about in terms of, something that can be supported through a resume versus, something that would be an SCA type of request. But that's where they go to. So like for this one, projection system, it was rated as 4. So their video projection, right? Likely to be something that would be covered under a resume versus something else, right? So that's the kind of thing that you'll see inside of the BCAS report.
So within this report, there are multiple.
Multiple areas that are rated, yes.
Because I told them to list the most important.
Yeah, multiple areas are rated. That's why you'll see a 3 here, Joe, where
Okay.
where you'll see a fair, and then you'll see something else that says, we have another area that is poor, right? See the rating here?
Yeah.
So it's based on the area that was identified
Okay,
and how that assessment was done for the school.
surprised the person who does the inspection.
Right.
So I suggest, with the schools that you are in contact with, check the report and then compare it with the request that they made, right? And then in January, we, come back and we each share what we
We
find.
have homework.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. And
Many,
then-
many of the ones that are there are likely a lot more along the lines of a resume. Just looking at, I looked at the examples that were provided. Many of them are likely in a resume example. But some of them I would certainly explore a little bit further. The electrical space.
Yeah.
The electrification might be an area for the school dependent on, notice something around it, on one of the floors, there's shorting that happens in certain spaces. Might be something that is worth, the additional exploration for a capital project versus, my auditorium chairs are a mess and we just need an auditorium upgrade. That you can see, if you saw the list from Shane, there were some big dollars there that were
Yeah.
given to schools to do a beautiful project in the building for auditoriums. So just kind of giving you guys a little feedback to know that where all that stuff comes from.
So it's like these, where it says like 33, 34, that's the level they cut.
Those are the
Like
levels,
it went
right?
right.
Yeah.
And then,
So PS 24 got a brand new auditorium, but the sound system is old.
Mhm.
So every time people rent, to do some event, they have to bring their own, sound system.
Mm.
okay,
So some of those things it's keeping connected with SEA, because they will come back, to support any of those things that do come up.
so we'll come back at the January meeting to, discuss what we each found with our respective schools and then decide on the top 5 priorities. Probably at that point, we might not even have a top 5, maybe it's just 2 or 3. Right?
Someone to share tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if, within this month, you have any questions, we can always email, Mr. Goodman. All right, sounds good?
And I think because you guys are all connected with specific schools,
Yeah.
part of that outreach and connection can be that recommendation that, if there's something that you do need, it's a good idea to touch base with SEA to see what would be the estimate for my building. So if it's more along the lines with the resume, that they're asking for the dollar amount that might be needed versus what they think, 200,000 would be great. And then 200,000 comes in and it's, you can do three chairs in the auditorium versus, you know what I mean? So that, that.
I'll say 3 chairs.
Yeah. That might be helpful if, in that space, if you're connecting with schools anyway, that might be a good question to ask them.
All right, any new business? Anyone want to share anything, any meetings that they went to and, share a report?
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
So, tomorrow, just so that everyone knows, we did have the fortune of being part of PS 242's Blue Ribbon Ceremony. Tomorrow night, we get to participate in another one. So PS 244 is also celebrating their Blue Ribbon status in an event tomorrow night at 2:44 at 6 o'clock. So really super excited for them and their community as we bring in 2 of 6 in New York City, and 2 of them are in District 25, which is amazing that we get to celebrate that way. So I will be there, excited, just as excited for them as I was today for PS 242. So I just wanted to make sure that I was able to share that.
Awesome.
Great, thank you. Are there any other upcoming events? Any more upcoming events?
So I did mention the SEL event. That one's coming up next week.
Okay.
We have our kickoff tomorrow, as I mentioned, for the bocce space. But I am working on, organizing for the podcast. I want to get a really big guest that becomes the first person that joins because, yes, I love all of our adults, but the first person that I have come in, I want them to really connect with kids so that kids get excited about who's on the other end of the conversation that I will have. So I'm putting out feelers for anyone that knows that famous person that's in the area that would be willing to do so. We do have a couple of people that we're trying to connect with to get that first one started. For me, when kids get excited, they're going to get you excited as parents. Let's go on. Dr. D'Antona's speaking with so-and-so tonight. You know, even those days when you don't feel like it, you're like, all right, I'll get on there, right? You know, but then you wind up getting into it too. As a parent, asking and hearing from folks that might not always be an educator, but might be someone that has worked their tail off to get into the space that they are today. That sends a really important message for our kids. That yes, you know, doing well academically is one thing, but guess what else is really important? Working your butt off. And there's so much value in understanding that, you know, that yes, for some academics comes to them and it's just like this, and I get it. You know, for myself, I have to work. I got to work on the things that I do, you know, every day to make sure that I'm successful. You know, so, and sometimes it's really great, sometimes I fail, but it's about making sure that that message is really clear to our kids, that even in those failures, we have to make sure that we improve. So when it comes to the podcast, I want to make sure I get someone really, really good to kick it off for, certainly for our families, but I really want to do that for the kids, to get them hooked and excited about an event that will be recurring, that we get to do often for them. So that's coming soon.
Okay.
That is coming soon. Nothing to share yet, but it's coming soon.
Okay, I'm sure you will let us know, Dr. Knight.
I see, I got 2 kids.
Oh, yeah, Morris.
Okay,
I have someone from CCRB,
okay,
Laurel, and then Laura.
okay. You'll unmute them?
It's MAROU. Yeah, RO.
Hi, everyone. I'm actually here with my colleague, Natasha Diaz, who will be making this announcement. But I did want to introduce her real quick. She is our new outreach coordinator at the Civilian Complaint Review Board. And yeah, just accompanying her tonight, just so she can meet everyone on the CEC, you know, council, and just get some information and share some resources. So Natasha?
Good evening, how are you?
Oh, wait, that's, are you able to unmute, Natasha?
Yep, there we go.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Hi, good night, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
My name, I'm good, I'm well. I hope everyone is well also. So I am Natasha. I'm the new Queens Outreach Coordinator for the Civilian Complaint Review Board, the CCRB. We are a city government agency that investigates, mediates, and prosecutes complaints of misconduct against members of the NYPD. As an outreach coordinator, I provide presentations, workshops, and outreach events to educate the public on the CCRB, what police misconduct is, what are your rights during a police encounter, how to file a complaint, and when you file a complaint, what that process would look like. You can reach out to me if you're interested. I'm gonna put my contact information in the chat. But lastly, I wanted to let you guys know about our Youth Advisory Council. We are accepting applications for our Youth Advisory Council. They are a council of young New Yorkers who are committed to criminal justice issues and improving police community relations. The YAC counsels the CCRB on how young people can suggest innovative ways to bring New Yorkers into the conversation regarding civilian oversight of the NYPD. We just had an International Youth Summit, which we had students from Kenya, students from Britain, students from Mexico that joined in the conversation. It was an awesome summit. So the applications are open right now to students between the ages 10 and 18. That is also going to be in the chat as well. So if you guys are interested, please reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. Okay, Morris, we will unmute you. Just give us a second.
Hi, I'm Morris Altman. Some of you may know me. I was once the president of CEC 25. It was probably about 5-6 years ago. And I did that for quite a long time. And one of my big frustrations was getting facilities upgraded, fixed. And we went through a lot of work, went all the way up to vice presidents in the school board, and eventually we made some progress, and it sounds like some contacts and knowledge hasn't passed down, which there was talk about it, but the district facilities coordinators have the custodians reporting to them. And any problems that are going on, if it should have come from the principal to the custodian already. So whatever happened there, let's not try and point fingers at anybody. But if it's not getting solved that way, the next thing to do is go in the other direction to the district's facilities manager or director, whatever they're calling them today. There may be more than one in District 25.
Yep, same.
There's how many?
There's one. We still have we still have one. In the past, we had two that split it, but now we have one.
That's wonderful. That'll make it easier. If the president or a designee can make a contact with this person and be on a first name basis with them and tell them when there's a problem going on, they have been super for me. They would look into it immediately and get back. I would hear usually the same day, but certainly within a day or two, what was going on. And sometimes something needs to be fixed. Sometimes something goes through the cracks. Sometimes something is too large for it to be taken care of, but it has to start there and then it can bubble up. If you make those contacts and talk with them, you have a list of, it sounded like a lot of things that are really more repair issues than upgrades. If you get those, you go that route, you'll get it. Now, a repair can turn into a small project, which may not be school construction. It may stay within school facilities to do it. But they'll take care of that. And they know how to do that. They have the budget, and they also have the contacts with school construction if it's too large to start getting it evaluated and go. The issue with school construction is they operate on these 5-year plans. And to get something onto the 5-year plan takes it to be really important. And sometimes something can be added. They always have some discretionary funds to take care of something, but you really want to try and head the problems off before they get up there. And then, of course, the reservoir funds are very important, and you can use them. You can use them for repairs too. So those are all great ways to do it. And it's great to see you all. Those of you that I know, and those that I don't, it's great to see you working.
Always great seeing you, Morris.
Yes, likewise, Mike. Well, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So who is the?
So Bill Leroy is our facilities manager in District 25. Bill's terrific. Can always connect you guys with Bill. In fact, if you'd like, I can request that he comes to a future meeting. You already have him coming?
Well, no, so when I send both things out, I automatically send the whole list to both Bill and to Ben at the same time, so that one, they're not blindsided, and two, they can say, hey, which is what they usually do, this goes here, this goes there. So,
Yeah, Bill's always on top of all of these things. So some of those things with like chairs, that are broken in an auditorium, if I'm a principal, I'm more, let's go. Give me the whole goods. I know that's what I would do. as a principal. Certainly, if I can ask for a couple to be repaired or get me a whole new auditorium, I'd certainly go for it if it's in that kind of condition. But Bill is terrific, always very responsive. So
Okay.
we can certainly connect.
Kind of take that on. Okay.
It's not really anything much to take on. It's what I'm saying is like usually, I'm saying they kind of piggyback off of each other.
Mhm.
They'll take the list, they'll look at it, and then you just respond to me and say, hey, Connie, this is for this facility, but they refer to the SDA, and if either one of them can't do it, it's usually like, well, ask to go another way. It goes one of those 3 ways. Then my own experience.
I think the question that comes to mind is, when you get these responses, how do we know 100% within before January, something like maybe facilities is gonna take care of, and then we could then say,
I will tell you.
there you go. That's where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
Yes, he was purchasing and cell phone, you can, what's one thing.
Okay. Thank you. Any new business? No,
Not
Just
now.
one thing,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the request,
uh-huh,
and I noticed that, USI along with, 250 are actually in the same building.
They're in the same school, they use the same.
They use same facilities, so.
Same shared space.
Space.
Shared space. Yep.
So I believe their requests are pretty much similar. I haven't heard back from them, but I am looking forward for having a tour of what they're asking to be fixed or repaired. And if I hear from them, I will share with CEC.
oh, thank you. Thank you,
If
Alvin.
you're having a hard time connecting, you can let me know, Alvin. I'll make sure that you
Oh, they have connected to me. I
Yeah.
have spoken to
That's
the
perfect.
principal,
Mhm.
but I know because it's close to holidays.
Yeah.
I haven't
Got it.
got back
Thank you.
to do that talk. Okay.
Yes. I'm full with the whole new schools.
Anyone that like to, any, public speaking time is right now? Okay. Anyone? Okay. All right. So it is 8:40. Okay, Eden, motion to adjourn, any? Alvin and Joseph, second the
Nicely
motion.
done. Nicely done.
So let's take a 5-minute break and we will come back for the business meeting. Thank you, everyone. Please. So now let's do the roll call.
When you,
Present.
Carol Rashid,
You have to unmute him, so.
no, he's a, Carol.
Karam, you there?
Frank Chow, Joseph Chow,
Here.
Sung Young Lee,
Here.
Alvin Hung,
Here.
Eden Rubenstein,
Present.
Robert Lazar,
Maybe he
Present.
typed it in.
Catherine Santora, and Jocelyn Chen. Here.
Maybe he typed it in.
Carol.
Say you're here.
Just say here, type here.
Okay, fine.
Answer.
All right,
All right,
he's here.
okay.
I reminded him.
So, new business, any new business?
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
I think as a group, we need to discuss the meeting from last week.
uh-huh,
I don't know that it was understood what we were really walking into with this meeting. And I don't think that as a council, we were put in a good light because it made it look like this came from our district. And I don't know that, since we didn't really come to an agreement as a council to have this meeting, it just kind of came about. And it wasn't even really in the end led by us once it was presented. I think
right.
we really
We're
need to
just
have that discussion.
posting it.
Yeah, and I don't know that we should have been posting something without us even agreeing as a group or knowing really what we were walking into. So I think we really should be addressing that as a group tonight.
Together, what you're saying, we should have a council agreement before.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, we walked into, it was like the Hatfield and McCoy's fight, and I had no idea we were walking into that. I thought we were here to learn about the law. Well, I guess we learned about the law.
Exactly.
But was not expecting that, and I mean, it was a council president from CEC 26. He's got his own platform. I don't know why we needed to give him another platform. So it just, it was, I was surprised, and I didn't even know why all the people were in the back of the room. And then all of a sudden, at the end, you get the two-way back and forth. It was,
I think going off of that, like, part of the problem that I know has come up in conversations is we were given questions from this other person
right.
to tell us what to ask, rather than us being able to come up with questions. And I also agree, I thought it was learning more about the class size law, not that they were gonna come in and have a discussion in, like,
A
in our
debate.
district, basically becoming a huge debate.
I think in District 26,
They opted not to do it.
it's not they are not to do it.
So not to host this.
They're looking at it from a different angle, right? If you look at, Friendswood High School, Cardozo, Bayside, they're all way overcrowded, like 190% capacity, right? They're afraid that, well, Cardozo or Friendswood just build an extension. To me, that was not a good idea, because you're introducing more kids in there, right? So anyway, the issue is far greater because they're afraid that their kids will be sent someplace else. I only thought it was a good idea to participate because of Thompson Harris.
But
We
the
don't
thing
have
is,
so many high school teams. Besides Thompson, John Mark, what else do we have? Flushing. That's it, right?
Joe, the thing is, if you think about it, we are supposed to represent elementary and middle schools now, not even the high schools. So that's one of the things that, like, is a big
But
answer to that, but also if it's their concern about District 26, I think as a council, we shouldn't have been the ones posting it. It should have been posted by one of these
if you
districts
wanna
that
go
have
to
more
middle
concerns.
school, you got, okay, so they got 67, 74, 216, 158. Right?
But that's,
We got we got 189, 237, and a host of other middle schools. They all face the same issue. I think the primary concern is if we go down to 20 or 25, we're gonna get our room. Kids will be have to bus someplace else.
I think the issue though, that I have, and I think
No, I understand you.
it's not even that, no, it's the fact, we're here to represent the parents of the district. And I don't think this shed good light on us as a district council for the community, for the parents of our district in general, and it made it look like this is our take on it, and that we are totally against this law, we're doing all this, and it didn't shed a good light because we're not representing the parents at that point of our district, and that's where I'm trying to get at with this.
It did, I know we kept saying he was in support of smaller class sizes, but it did feel like more of a takedown of the law than it did feel like a supportive position. And it was difficult to listen to and feel like we were then representing a lot of that position on it. And it's good to ask questions. We should absolutely be asking questions about where's the funding gonna come? Where are these seats gonna?
Hey, sorry guys, my microphone was not working. You guys need it?
You're good. We just wanted to know you're here.
No, the thing is, I'm hearing from one ear. So if the phone is on my right side, I don't hear anything. And if the phone is on my left side, so my apology.
You know,
So it, well,
But I gave all my decisions to Joseph and Eden. You know, I spoke to them already. Thank you all.
So Catherine?
yeah. It's, I lost my train of thought a little bit, but,
start over.
I just felt like they had a very clear, agenda, and we were, and it came to represent us more, and without us having the information on how they wanted to present. So it just felt a little uncomfortable to sit with that.
I spoke to Lamar, from UFT, and, we spoke before the meeting, and I told him if they have a presentation, and also Senator Liu, he offered to come to our CEC to also give the presentation to balance off what, from the meeting last night, UFT and Senator Liu and always welcome to, to do that. So we can invite Senator Lou, if not January, then February, because
I think that's important, but I think it's also, we might wanna look at ourselves a little closer to saying, before we post something again, to say, as a council, do we agree with this? Do we know what we're getting ourselves into? Before making an agreement to say, yeah, we're gonna host this at our district. And put like our banner out at CSC
Right.
25. We need to know that we're hosting something that's not gonna become a debate, because then it sheds the wrong light on us. And it hasn't been sitting well with me, and I know people tried to discuss it during the chat, but I felt that it was a better platform for us to discuss here as a group.
Yeah, and I think not only just the CEC meeting, it was a special meeting called, it wasn't just our ordinary meeting in the ordinary course where, Senator Lou's gonna stop by. This was a special meeting, which it
There
looks
was
like
over
this
100
was,
people on this meeting.
yeah, we don't have 100 people on this call. I don't know how 100 people showed up for that special meeting. Certainly wasn't our doing that I'm aware of. So it did feel a bit like an ambush.
Frank, Shirley, Alvin,
Well,
comments?
I feel that in the coming months, we are gonna see a lot of discussion, especially with what Senator Yu had mentioned about the Euro control in the school board. Department of
What
Education.
happened at his meeting, for those of us that weren't there? I think that helped also.
It was a much
It
better, more
was with our
productive meeting.
eyes.
Yes.
I can tell you that, because we're like a new CEC, we have a lot of members here that are first time here. A lot of us do not know how the school board operates in the past, currently, and moving forward in the future. But if we get to see a glimpse of it, and we are part of, we are representing parents, we need to get the full information. I know it could look kind of like, wow, there's a lot of fighting going on, a lot of disagreements. But I think with the public seeing it through a Zoom meeting, we have to clarify that we, as a CEC, we stand in the middle. We don't go for one party or the other party. We're just like here to get all the facts. And then we have the parents decide what they feel they want for their kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but the parents do not know the impact of having 25 kids or 20 kids in class. They don't know. I work in the school. We open 7 o'clock in the morning. The last class ended at 5:12.
Well,
5 different sessions.
But, and I agree with you. There's no way a parent would know that.
The parent would know.
I don't even know if Dr. Mike would know. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. I guess what, just for the people that weren't at the meeting where, Senator Lou, presented, it was, say, hey, that's the law is passed. If 20, 23, and 25 are the wrong numbers, well, then tell me what the right numbers are. If you can't do it in 5 years, well, tell me, what do you need, 6 years? We gave you the money. It's not enough money, well, then how much do you need, for what? And he seemed, and it's easy for him to talk a good game but he seemed like he's taking a reasonable approach to it, where the adversarial, position wasn't a solution, it was just a no. And, no is not an answer in my mind. I mean, it's, how do we get this done? And I thought Senator Lou was constructive in terms of, here's the plan, here's the law, you got a better one.
Yeah, he's not the one that's going to put out this plan.
And then we hear from the building that, hey, they reconciled this with the law and, it's, the budget's there. I mean, that's what they said.
passed.
That's what he said,
Yes.
right? They've got the plan and the law are over the same time frame. I mean, I don't
Budget's
have
there
the
for that
skills
timing,
to tell
yeah.
whether they're married up or not, but that's what was said.
Exactly. I don't know, I feel like there should be something set up also on our behalf as a CEC in response to how that played out. To let them know that we did host this, but it's not necessarily, CEC is not saying, oh, we're against this. Like our CEC is not saying, we're against this law. I almost feel like we need to speak up to something.
You should quote the previous president. He
Well-
always says, Okay, he's saying, that's what he thinks,
Oh,
that's
Joe
not
thought
the
it was
view of the CEC board. He always, every
I
time.
saw him today.
I got to meet them too, yeah, today. Oh,
So
Joe,
if I can just
Yeah.
say one thing, because the reality is class size is going to be certainly a big conversation over the course of the next several years as it becomes a reality for the city from the state's perspective. The only thing that I will say is when and because for me it's about perspective, right? So everyone has their ability to bring their perspective to a given space. The only problem when a perspective is brought and then tabled in the space of a banner, it becomes a District 25 perspective versus a perspective that we're here to listen to. So that's just something for me, regardless of what the content was. When you put the banner out, it becomes, this is us as a community that stands in this space, not us receiving information. So that's just something for you guys to kind of mull over as a team, that, as you dig into this, because it's not going to be the last time, I'm sure, that we have to have conversations about class size. It will continue to come up. And we will certainly, as a collective community, have to come up with what is that going to look like. And what we're fortunate that, we have 2 new additions coming. We have 2 new schools now coming, which will alleviate. Do I think that's going to now necessarily mean that, okay, problem solved? No, not necessarily, but we have different solutions, even perhaps than what was shared. Certain schools that were identified as overcrowded, in fact, have the smallest class sizes in District 25. So those are the types of things that, as a team, once that time comes and we're made more aware of what that plan was that the city had presented, will become more real for us over time. And I'm sure we'll have a lot more conversations as
That's
time
the
goes
part
on.
that I'm stuck
Yeah.
on right now, is the fact, like, our banner was out. We were CEC 25 that was presenting this meeting. And that's where, like, it's just not sitting right. And I feel like we need to say something as a CEC. And that if another meeting like this is to come up, that we should make sure we agree and we know what we're getting into before agreeing to host something like this.
Agreed.
I think
Smaller class.
No, I don't think anybody is, but it's the way things were handled.
I think bringing Senator Liu to clarify a lot of things will be a really good idea, because at the meeting at the Main Street Library, it was really good because it was informative. It was not about taking sides. It was just the facts out there, transparency. So I got to understand better than the previous meeting that was here. So now I start to think, oh, this will definitely get implemented, but how are you gonna do it right for the parents and kids? So he was out there bringing about the facts, what's going to happen maybe. So it was more about informative. So I think it's really important for our job is to bring more parents' attendance, because that's what's gonna happen in the future. So I think it's, instead of being like in debates, I think we could bring more attention to parents in District 25 to listen to those informations. And decisions are really up to parents, and that we hear their opinions and move forward, proceed from there. I think that
there was a lot of even unanswered questions that
Yes.
night, because we're like, oh, we'll get back to you. And do we know all those questions? Do we have somebody responding to those questions? And there was a lot of people that I know, I was remote, but yet I know a lot of people that were sitting here listening that night left very unsettled from feedback that I've gotten. So the whole topic is a tough topic, because obviously we do want smaller class sizes, but I just don't know
Yes.
if it was approached in the right
Senator
way.
Liu offered to come in here to speak, so I will reach out to him and see when he's able to come in February. Maybe he will have more information at that time. Yeah, to balance what we have last week. And then we'll make a statement then.
I think the primary concern is simple. Take a good school in middle school, 194. Let's say the incoming class is 100. We go from 30 to 34, 32 down to 20. Is middle school 20 or
23.
23. They're losing about 270 kids. No, 27 kids to each 100. let's say 30,
But they already lost a lot of those kids too, Long Island, that class. this
wait,
year?
hold on for a second. You're using open another can of.
No, I know.
If there's 200,000 parents decided to bring their kids, take their kids someplace else, problem solved, then the university will have a different problem. Now they have to access the teachers they hired. Because the funding for teachers is per students.
But the thing is, what Senator Liu mentioned is that those numbers came from DOE. If the number's like 2025, if the number's not correct, then give us the new number. What is the current number? So there's no
They're open to
answer to
hearing
it.
it.
Right.
So what he wants is, what is the right way to implement this law? He wants the answer from DOE and where it could be successful. And, you know, we're gonna have experience short term, like a pain going through that new law. But what he was saying is he is willing to cooperate and collaborate. It's just that there's no answer coming out.
There is no answer. I'll give you a simple one. I think to use high school. Every kid wanted to go to Cardozo before 1990, maybe 2000. And after that, they don't want to go to Friends High School. So what is the magic? Your zone student for Friends High School is about 800.
But what I'm saying, what you're saying, DOE knows best, right? Because they
Say it
did
again?
start. DOE knows the best what numbers are coming in and coming out. So what he was mentioning is that we have to work together to make it work. So like he had a lot of facts and information, so I think it would be really great for him to come here and repeat what he said in the Main Street Library. Then we will have a better, clear understanding what's going on. I think that's the best.
More kids wanted to go to 194, 185. Oh, it's hard to know.
I mean, I have to say, our middle schools are great. So all of them right now, if you looked at every single one of them, you know, is not what you would say is a space where they say you don't want to go there. You know, so I can't really say to you that this is where they want to go, where they don't, because our schools are very, very well
75
established.
seem to want to go to 194 if they could.
Would they want to?
194 instead of 185 if they could.
I don't know what is the question?
No,
No,
the
no,
kids
saying
at
the fifth
79
grader in
Oh, they
79
want to?
go to
194
194 instead of 185.
Listen, you're never gonna hear me say that they're not amazing. They're both amazing. We walked into those schools this week and they did a great job, you know, so I can't really, you'll never hear me say that about either of them.
No, I think
I'll
we
never
have
push
great
between either of
middle
those schools.
in the
Yeah,
district.
yeah.
We have a lot of children, but also, so my son is in the Navy Corps. And he loves it. He's in the honors class right now. But there are 33 kids in his class, you know, and he is a very serious student, but he's also a very quiet kid. He doesn't really get the attention that he would if there were 25 kids in the class. Like he would get a lot more, like, a lot more time from his teachers. It's a good thing. And the, you know, I think right now there's about 10 classes in 194 per year. I think there typically was maybe 14, like pre-pandemic. So now where did that space go? Like, can we spread those kids out a little more? I know that the budget is also about funding the teachers and finding the teachers, but a lot of teachers were let go because they didn't maybe comply with the vaccine mandate. Maybe there's another way to bring them back into the fold in a new way now that we're in a different phase of everything. And what about those classrooms that are now essentially, you know, 4 per grade that don't have anybody in it? Like there's space there to work with it, and it was not, that was definitely not discussed last week. But there are ways it would, and it is definitely a good thing in smaller classes. So it is a matter of knowing that there's problems and trying to come to a solution rather than just like having it discussed maybe the way that it was.
I just wish a lot of parents in District 25 are aware of these
Well,
information.
yeah.
So that
And
we could
we're
get
aware of
our,
the issues,
yeah.
because that's one of the things that's, and listen, it's get them to speak up, because there's, you know, the easy way is, oh, we'll just convert the gym to 6 classrooms and call it a day.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's like, no, as parents, hold the DOE accountable that's saying, no, you gotta build the school, you gotta build the addition. Okay, you
Away
need
the
to put
gym.
trailers as an interim step, fine, but here's the plan, how we get compliant by whatever that takes. So, I do think, more communication with the community, getting parents involved so that there is that pressure and that onus to do the right thing and make the space. And yes, it's gonna be painful. Any sort of change is gonna be painful, but I thought what really I took away from Senator Lucy is that he wanted this to be his legacy. He's like, 30 years ago, I went to these schools, they were overcrowded then, they're overcrowded now. I'm not gonna die with them being overcrowded, and I thought that was great, and he's, keenly interested in doing it the right way, but it does take the community. So I think he created a framework, but now the community has to push to how that gets actually executed.
I think also if you think back to one of our first meetings this year, I think it was September, he actually stopped in and he said congratulations, and he did bring up the topic of class size loss very briefly and said he would be happy to come speak about it. So I think if we did something like that, and he is here and we make it known throughout the district, hey, we're hosting an event where he's going to speak about this law, so you're able to learn about it, become knowledgeable about it, and speak up as parents, we can then get better feedback and know how to take a stance as a CEC.
Okay,
So I think
I will
that was
ask
really-
him to come.
So thank you everyone for when I said, please, can we stop talking about it in the text and wait till today?
Are there any other comments?
I'd like to bring up a student perspective, because after the meeting with Senator
Johnson was there.
on Thursday, I did end up talking to some of my classmates, asking their opinions on if they prefer classroom or a larger classroom. And then I've asked about 15 students, 13 of them preferred smaller classrooms. They've all said that because they've had smaller classrooms and now they're so overcrowded, especially in London High School, an extremely overcrowded high school, they have.
You have to speak up a little more.
Joe's having trouble hearing.
Walking over to you.
They haven't been able to properly talk to their teachers, haven't been properly able to interact with their classmates, solely because of how big the class is. There are about 33 students inside a classroom, and then the classroom, though there are space, it's like one's over here and one's over here. They're never gonna have an interaction, because we're always sitting at a table. We don't really do turn talks and talk to each other. We don't really do that. So a lot of them have said they favored smaller classrooms solely because they are able to interact with students as well as teachers who understand the support.
Johnson, that's a great point, because
Yeah.
if you have a big class, it becomes unruly what you call the turn and talk. I mean, that is a great technique, but you have 33 people doing it, it becomes a roar, so.
Oh, okay. All right, you guys can stay and continue. I have to get my, I have to,
There you go.
I need more.
She did it this time.
Does anyone, okay, Joseph, motion to adjourn? I second.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I remember, Frederick, was the three kids here once.
Yeah.